Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Great Malabite Efeni.
Good morning, Ruben.
Good morning.
Good morning, Rufa. Good morning, Adesua.
Good morning.
Yes. Ruben, the Malabite. Now, let's start the review with this day. Nigeria's newspaper of records. Battle fatigued. Leaderless. 1,000 Boko Haram members surrender to Gallant troops. Yahya urges others to follow suit. Renounce hostilities. Concerns over pampering of repentant terrorists. Yes, Ruben, I agree with you totally on pampering terrorists. Giving them jollof rice, as you put it. But that in itself must be a political decision, not a military decision. But let's celebrate our soldiers. In the last couple of months, the terrorists, they've been receiving the pounding, both air and, of course, on land. And the result is what we are seeing, because this battle has been long in prosecuting, as it were, and we've had ups and downs. But now, the Nigerian soldiers, whatever was the hindrance before now, but somehow they have kicked into the right gear, and the terrorists are feeling the pinch of the punch of the Nigerian army. But we want to believe that this should lead to the foreclosure of this war, because we cannot go on and on. And there should be no let, because what we see in the past is that after what looked like subduing to some extent these terrorists, we see a resurgence. Now, if the Boko Haram are taking to their heels, raising their hands in surrender, we also want to see the same happening to those ISWAP fighters who are more hardened and are also being funded from afar with sophisticated weapons. But we must say kudos to the Nigerian military thus far. But we want to see foreclosure of this. We cannot go on and on. We want to see the IDPs returning to their homestead and farmers going to their farms in the northeast and elsewhere. But other newspapers are also reporting this same story. The Leadership newspaper, in deadly onslaught, military takes fight to bandits' den. Kill 70 in Niger. This is in the northwest now, and the north central. Surrendered terrorists must face trial. Army. Gunmen kill mother. 3 children in Benue. Abductors of Niger Commissioner, APC chairman, demand 700 million ransom. Yes, this is another cherry story that the military are also upping the ante in taking the fight to the bandits' den, especially in the north central, Niger State and environs, and other states in the northwest. We hope this will be sustained so that Nigeria can be more secure. Yes, the News Direct newspaper is also reporting this story. Over 1,000 Haram ISWAP members surrender in Borno Army. 112 killed, 160 abducted in Kaduna Plateau, according to Amnesty International reports. Now let's look at other stories quickly. The Vanguard newspaper, yes, the political party and their crisis. Secondus survives as PDP fixes convention for October. Borno's headship of APC legally settled APC governors. APC leaders drag party to court in Ondo over World Congresses. Thugs invade APC secretariat in Enugu. Seize NTA TVC cameras. Now, as this day exclusively reported yesterday that there is a deal in the works, and that the deal is what we have just seen, because this day rightly reported yesterday that the convention will be moved backwards by a month or two, and here we are. The governors have been able to come up with what looked like a deal. But for Secondus, yes, soft landing, you will say, but most probably he will not continue beyond that convention. But it's a good thing to hear that the political parties, the big wigs, are able to come and fashion out a solution. And if you look at the front page of this day again, you see the people they call the peacemakers. Yes, chairman of the Reconciliation Committee, former Senate President Bukola Saraki. Yes, former Senate President and SGF Pius Ayim Pius. And former Senate President also, Iyoshid Ayu. And, of course, you have others there. Former Senate President David Mack and former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu, as well as the former Speaker, former Deputy Speaker and former Imo State Governor himself, Emeka Ihedioha. If these eggheads cannot fashion out peace, you wonder who will. But they have done it, and we hope it is sustainable. Now, let's look at other papers. The Guardian newspaper. PDP Secondus survives, gets a reprieve with early convention. Now, the Punch newspaper. Federal government recalls envoy as Indonesian officials assault Nigerian diplomat. Nigeria threatens to review relations, demands sanctions for errant officials. Ex-diplomats slam Indonesia. CSOs ask federal government to sever ties with Southeast Asian country. Yes, in diplomatic circles, Nigeria has taken a top stand by recalling its ambassador from Indonesia. That horrific attack on a Nigerian diplomat is not something any nation can stomach. If I were the federal government, I would even go a step further. But for now, let's see the response of the Indonesian government. Now, the Nation newspaper, governors give Secondus soft landing, pacify Wike. Now, below that, APC governors back Buni-led caretaker panel. Congress's convention plans get nod. No room for decent comment on leadership. Now, let's look at the New Telegraph newspaper. The New Telegraph newspaper. The same story on PDP crisis as lead story. But above the masthead, no, just below the masthead, Dangote, only Nigerian on Bloomberg's billionaires list. Fortune increases to $17.8 billion. Yes, Dangote clearly still the richest man in Africa. We used to call him Ali Cash way back in time when he came for our parties at the Lagoon side at this day in the early 2000s. Yes, Aliko, strong, financially capable. Of course, we are all waiting for the Dangote refinery to rescue the nation from the shameful practice of importing petroleum products. Now, the Daily Sun newspaper. APC crisis, governors stand by Buni, while the Daily Independent newspaper, I just look at the second lead. The Daily Independent newspaper, 112 killed, 160 abducted in Kaduna Plateau in 1 month. That is the Amnesty International report. Now, this in itself paints the gory picture of the insecurity that pervades our country. Now, the Daily Trust newspaper, insecurity, police phone tracker inactive 7 months after collapse. Is unfortunate, unhealthy. Experts, we are upgrading systems, says police. Now, the Business Day newspaper, Rivers VAT judgment throws up sharing formula for debate. Let's look at the foreign newspapers quickly. The Times of UK call for urgent A-levels overhaul as grades soar. 70% of private school entries A or higher. Williamson at risk after series of missteps. The credibility, according to the Times of UK, the credibility of the A-level system risks being undermined by the soaring grade inflation. Politicians and education experts are warning. But that is not the only problem. If you look at the Guardian of UK, the gap widens between private and state schools. Record-breaking A-level results as nearly 45% awarded top grades. Now, the gap between the private and state school A-level grades has grown to its widest in the modern era as part of the record-breaking set of results that also saw black pupils, male pupils, outperformed by their peers. Yes, the photograph in front page of the Guardian of UK. Yeah, Nigerian story you want to say again. Pics, that's the twins, Kehinde and Deborah Showole, opening their A-level results yesterday. Now, the New York Times, quickly, Cuomo to quit in harassment scandal. Yes, denies improper acts but sees mistakes. When you are accused by 11 women and that has been properly investigated, you have one choice. Just go. Not when the president is saying you should go. The Speaker of Congress, Nancy Pelosi, saying you should go, you have to go. When the parliament in New York, the New York State, they were already preparing for an impeachment. So Cuomo has to go. Yeah, and in 14 days, he will no longer be the governor. But the good thing is that a woman will be taking over from him. Yeah. Oh, cool. Ruben Rufai. I
think Cuomo really has to go. The President of the United States set the tone. The investigators, including his own Attorney General, set the tone. He says he's innocent, but he has more or less also apologized to the women that he may have offended. But beyond the sexual harassment allegations, he also has other issues, including the management of data, relating to persons in nursing homes, and other issues in terms of finances that have been brought up. I think the big question is, will the legislature in New York proceed further to impeach him? If he's impeached on the basis of the various allegations, then he will not be able to run for any public office in the state of New York again. But if he's not impeached, then of course in 2022, he can come back and run for the position of governor again. And even his
the damaged brand already.
Yes, I think so. Even his the lieutenant governor who is succeeding him in 2 weeks' time is also saying that, look, the best thing that he could have done was to resign. But about a week ago, he didn't want to resign. Now, as for the Nigerian military, the Nigerian army, the story on the front page of this day, I had expressed earlier, general concerns about Nigerians, that we shouldn't be giving jollof rice to people who committed a crime, considering the fact that there is no statute of limitation on crime. But the Nigerian military is saying, well, this is what we talk about when we refer to non-kinetic considerations. Well, you have praised the Nigerian army that this is an indication that those non-kinetic measures are working and that they've been able to get hundreds.
No, the kinetic measures are also working because you
had a story about that.
Yes.
Yeah, I listened to that, and this is an indication that it is working. But we have had in the past persons that have been rehabilitated who again went back to the camp. Yeah. In this case, we have Musa Abuja, we have Adamu Dada. These are bomb experts for Boko Haram who are now carrying placards and they are saying, Nigeria, forgive us.
Ruben, I'm totally with you that they should be prosecuted. I'm totally in support of that.
No, I'm going somewhere. what I'm now saying is that what quality of intelligence has General Iyitayo, who is the leader of Operation Hadinkai, what OPHK, as they call it, what quality of intelligence have they been able to extract to help their operations? Because if these people are truly repentant, then they should help the state with very useful information about how to ramp up the operation. Your praise for the Nigerian soldiers, I think, is in place, considering the fact that, as General Babangida pointed out on this same program, they are overstretched. And there are persons who have lost their husbands, who have lost their loved ones, to this struggle. For anybody at all to commit to die for Nigeria, the same Nigeria that some people are running away from, I think, yes, on that basis, they deserve commendation. And they deserve every support of the state. But crime is crime. There's no jollof treatment inside the criminal code for criminals. And there's no statute of limitation on capital crimes like murder. Now, as for the police, I think it's ludicrous. There's no excuse that the police can give. This is not the first time the story is coming out. It has come out again that the police cannot track any criminal, that the equipment that they have to even monitor phone calls is not working. For 7 months. I mean, it's crazy. So do they have any kind of synergy with other agencies? Maybe the DMI, maybe the SSS, DSS, as it is now called, that have equipment that they can tap into. But if you know the rivalry among the agencies, the police will just continue to tell you that we are working on it, we are trying to upgrade it. But we know the last time this story came up, that it's about contract. Who awarded the contract? What are the terms of the contract? Nigeria cannot be held to ransom by a strategic institution like the Nigeria Police on the basis of equipment being contracted out and the terms of the contract having issues. I think this is an issue that the presidency should look into.
Yes. Not now when kidnappers are using phone calls to negotiate deals.
Mr. Finney, I had so much to say about Cuomo, but let's see if time will permit. Number one, he has to go. He has done a lot of things wrong, not only about sexual misconduct and the likes. He was threatening lawmakers. He was harassing fellow politicians. He was calling them up and saying, if you let me down, I'm going to mess you up. So he has to go. And secondly, I think because of all of that, that impeachment charge against Cuomo should be pushed forward. We can't say because a man battled COVID-19 well, he shouldn't be brought to justice. He has no right harassing lawmakers. He had been disconnected from his party. He had turned himself into a little god. His priority was to supersede his father in terms of tenureship as governor of New York. So Cuomo needs to go. There are so many baggages. Only to think this was a man that was steeped at a point to be candidate for presidency. He can achieve that. Secondly, Katie Hochul. Katie Hochul is a fresh breath of air, lieutenant governor. There's something very specific about her. This is the only woman that year-on-year basis, she has done all the groundwork. All the success Cuomo has achieved has been because of Katie Hochul. Katie Hochul was the lieutenant governor that went to 62 counties in New York, preaching the message of COVID, preaching the message of vaccination, doing all the groundwork for Cuomo. She's somebody on the ground. She served before, and she knows her stuff. And it's another triumph for women out there. I mean, New York is so big. It's bigger than the Cuomos, I should say. And when you do things wrongly, you will definitely face your time. I suspect we're out of time, and I wanted to comment about the military, but maybe in other engagements I'll get a time to. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel.